Okay, you guys, I am in the background. I'm gonna shrink this down. It's gonna look funky, but whatever. I gotta try to send another text because that text that is on there, that chat that's on there, is from my previous live stream today. Since I have not shut off my live stream viewer, whatever you want to call it, Streamlabs, I haven't shut that down yet. Alright, so let's see here. Yay! Alright. Okay, so that works. Okay, now let's go back to this. Okay. Finish setting stuff up. Okay, we got that. I don't know, like, should I let the countdown go all the way down? I might be able to start a little early today. It's possible. It's a possibility. I'm thinking I will just, I will go ahead and cut the timer short, so I'll wait till, no, I'll just do it now. Let's cut the timer short and go straight to the live scene. Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown. I am back with another look at a new trailer. I don't know if it's new. It's just that it is not the first one that I looked at, and I have barely been able to find it. Like, I kept seeing references to it, yet couldn't find the trailer when I went looking for trailers for episode 4 or 5, which I thought they would have. Couldn't find any. But I kept seeing references to this one and couldn't find it. I finally found it in a Reddit thread, which is a little irritating. And the Reddit thread didn't know where it came from either. Like, they all also complained about not being able to find anything in the Hulu YouTube site or on the Disney Plus site or any of it. So, and I have gone through the Hulu site trying to see if I could find it anywhere in there, and I could not. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to play the trailer all the way through, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning, and we're just going to go through a little bit at a time, and I'll stop it every now and then when I have something to say, which is usually how I treat these trailers. I just stop them every now and then to say what I have to say. Every once in a while, if I don't feel like I really need to do that, I'll just say something whenever I feel like saying it, or I'll leave it for the end or whatever. But in this case, I'll stop every now and then, say what I have to say, and then move on to the next part. So let's go ahead. And because I do not actually know exactly where this trailer comes from, do not know if it will get taken down. Usually if I do a trailer from like Hulu or HBO even, or Prime or Netflix or whatever, usually they do not get taken down even when I do them live streams. But I don't know where this came from. So I don't know. It could end up getting taken down, and if that's the case, they might shut this down, and I'll just stop the live stream because because the live stream is just for this trailer. So let's go ahead and get this started. Oh, you know what? Here, let me turn my camera on. Hold on. And turn this image off. That is not the right image. Is it that? I'm trying to remember. Where did I have it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'll turn this image off. There, and now here I am. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the trailer. Oh, you know what? I just realized I do not have my earbuds on. So I can't hear what's going on at all. Plus, I think it's on mute, so I have to unmute it. I have to make sure that my earbuds are actually working properly and that it is coming through on Streamlabs. Just bear with me just a bit. I am sorry about this. Okay, so let's play a little bit and we'll listen to if it has sound. Ah, get back here.
Look, I know it's scary.
Yep. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the beginning. Sorry about that. All right. I'm going to press play.
Is she all right?
We're going to...
Look, I know it's scary. They were Mayday. They tried to kill us.
What if someone inquires about Agnes Mackenzie's lineage?
She's the daughter of a handmaid.
Not just any handmaid. I have to get out of here. It's too dangerous.
Those who are not with us are against us.
The wicked and enemies of the Lord will perish. Like smoke, they will drift away.
We'd like your permission to enter.
I need to speak with Aunt Lydia.
Are you going to deny us entry? Aunt Lydia is slowing down. I think maybe the time's come for you and I to discuss our vision of the future. I want to destroy Gilead.
I told you, I never wanted any of this. My parents are going to choose my husband. Nobody cares what I want. What's in there? You?
You.
You won't say anything? I promise.
Oh my god, this is some fucking spoilery stuff. I knew it was going to be spoilery, but holy shit.
I might never get my daughter Hannah back, but I will die fighting so that she can experience freedom. You have no idea who I am or what I have been through. Young lady, do you understand me?
Oh boy. Okay, alright.
Is she all right?
Okay, alright. Oh my goodness. Okay. Is she alright? You shouldn't be here. So, later on in the trailer, we see that thing with Hulda, and I'm wondering if this has anything to do with that. Because she says that she heard her screaming. Like, oh my god. And that freaking scene with Hulda, holy shit. But we will get to that. We will get to that. If they're not talking about Hulda, then I don't know. But yeah, obviously some fucked up shit is going to happen. Holy cow. But this is why I was so excited to play this trailer. There's so much on it. Yes, it's very spoilery. And if you don't like spoilers, you really probably shouldn't be here. But I'm just excited because I've been wanting to piece certain things together. I know there's things in the TV series that are very much not like the book, but I feel like the main change that's been made from the book is the fact that Daisy is not baby Nicole. Though it does feel like they're really trying to keep Daisy's story mostly intact, just claim that it's not baby Nicole, it's some other baby that was a baby earlier. And I do remember when I was editing one of my videos, Aunt Lydia Was it Aunt Lydia? I don't remember if it was Aunt Lydia or June said something like, oh, it was June. Was it June? No, I'm still not sure. It might be June. It might be Aunt Lydia. But somebody said that you've been, said something about you've been with me from the beginning. It might have been June. That might be what I'm thinking of. Because when she is talking to June, she says that, that Mayday has always had her back, that they've always been watching her. And I think she says from the beginning. And that's making me think that maybe this little girl was actually a baby at the very freaking beginning when Gilead first tried to take over. Maybe even before they invaded the fucking country. I don't know. But really early on, because that's the only way it works for her to be around 16 years old at this point, is for her, if she was a baby, was for her to have been taken out of there really early on, at the very beginning. So I'm wondering if that's foreshadowing. I'm thinking it's some kind of foreshadowing, but I could be wrong. They do change timelines around. Sometimes they do change age frames so that it doesn't really work. Like we've seen that over and over again in both TV series and both books. That sometimes, like even the two books together, the timelines don't seem to work very well. Like when I look at the difference between what happened in the Handmaid's Tale book and what happened in the Testaments book, and you try to match up the timelines, I'm like, Agnes should have been a full-grown adult by the point that the Testaments takes place. So even that one, the timeline is kind of wonky. But on this one, it would have been even more wonky if they tried to claim that this was baby Nicole. They're not claiming it's baby Nicole. And I don't know. I mean, Agnes could be a little bit too old, but I think it would just be a little bit too old. Yes, there are girls that start their period, like right now, the average age to start your period is just a little bit under 12 years old. When I was growing up, it was like 12 and a half years old, although I was 13 and I just assumed that 13 was the average. I think they said not too long before my age that it was close to 13, so it's possible. But there are also periods in time where the age of average menarche, which is your first period, is like 16, 17 years old. And yeah, Gilead's trying to clean up everything, which is the reason that supposedly these girls had such older ages of first periods was because they were living in environments after the Industrial Revolution, where where toxin levels were quite high. So anyway, I'm like going off on a tangent. So let's go ahead and continue on with this a little bit. Okay, so that image where they were showing the girls, like it looks like they were ducking down and stuff like that, and everybody was moving around. Even though I think it's like a quad or something like that in their school, like the area where they come in or something like that, it reminded me of the quads that we had when I was in the military in the barracks, in basic training, I think. Was it basic or AIT? It might have been both. We had these like big open bay areas basically where we would clean our weapons and stuff like that. We would do formations and get ready for marches, stuff like that. And it reminded me of that, but like that's all I could think of, because the whole thing with these things going on, it looks very military, it looks very organized and orderly, like the military wants you to be all uniform and orderly and organized, even if it doesn't look pretty, whereas Gilead tries to make everything look pretty. But that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of those quads, or whatever they were called, I can't remember, when I was in basic or AIT, and we would be getting ready for formation and stuff like that. Anyway, let's continue on.
They were Mayday. They tried to kill us.
What if someone inquires about Agnes Mackenzie's lineage?
Okay. Now, so somebody had said something about her looking at a file, and I thought they were saying Agnes looking at a file, but I think that the person said it was probably responding to this, seeing these ants looking at these files. But also in the book at some point, I believe that Agnes ends up being shown one of the files, something like that. I don't know if they're going to go that way on this TV series, but it was just something that I remember. And I am doing the reading of the Testaments book right now. I do that on live stream every Sunday and Tuesday. I did one earlier today. But we have not gotten to that point. I'm just pretty sure that there is a point in the book where she does gain access to that file. But anyway, in this case, it's the aunts looking at this. Just like they did in the Handmaid's Tale TV series. The aunts would look at these files to figure out who's going to be matched up with who. In that case, it was which handmaid was going to go to which commander. In this case, it's which upcoming wife is going to be matched up with with a commander. So, disturbing, but it is the reality that is Gilead. And what they're talking about right now is Agnes's lineage, that she is from a handmaid. Not any particular handmaid, a specific handmaid. And we know that handmaid is June Osborne, formerly of Fred, and before that of somebody, but I don't know. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. And we are right at the point in the book where it is talking about Agnes finding out that her mom was a handmaid, because she did not know that. And finding out that this story that she would actually get flashes of, that her former Gilead mom, Tabitha, had told her about running through the forest and her like helping her escape from these wicked people, and that she chose her out of all the other children or whatever. And Agnes herself at least had a flash of a memory of holding a woman's hand who she thought was Tabitha, because she thought it was her mother, and these people trying to pry her away from her. And after she finds out that Tabitha is not her mother, and that her mother was a handmaid, and her Martha explains to her what a handmaid is, and it explains enough that she starts to realize that this whole story that Tabitha told her was a real story. It was just made to sound like a fantasy, like a fairy tale. And she starts to realize that some of that memory is actually of her holding her real mom's hand, and these people pulling her away. and she starts associating that with other handmaids. Did these other handmaids have their children pried away from them? So in that respect, I am hoping that they do show handmaids on here. I know there is a possibility that we will not see a handmaid on this TV series at all, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope that we do. I would appreciate it, and I think it's an important part of the tale. And I think also when Agnes in the book gets a handmaid in her household, that it helps to change her outlook on things, on both the handmaids and these children that were taken from them. I think it really helps her to shift her outlook and to see a little bit of the disturbingness of how they're twisting these stories and how they're twisting information about people. And so for that reason, I really do hope that they show it. If they keep them out completely, I think that is a big change that I will not appreciate. All right, so let's play a little bit more.
Daughter of a handmaid.
Not just any handmaid. I have to get out of here. It's too dangerous.
Okay, now this. All right, here, let me get back to the thing. So I got to make sure nobody is sending me any chats, and I got to make sure that the live stream is still going, because I don't know if I might get this thing pulled off. I don't think it will. I have never had any of my stuff pulled for going over a teaser or a trailer. I think because the TV channels like want it advertised, so I don't think they have as big of a problem if you broadcast teasers and trailers and stuff like that, and interviews and behind the scenes stuff. I think they have less problems with you showing that in reactions and stuff, even the full thing, than they do for music, TV shows, movies, that kind of thing. And in fact, the only time I've had any even warning about anything for a trailer was when there was music on it that they didn't want me to play, and all I had to do is go through YouTube and tell it to remove the music, yet leave the other sounds on there, so it would take the music out and leave the voice. Although I didn't go back to check and see if they do that, but it at least makes it so that after a little bit of time, they go ahead and do that edit and they make that change, and then I don't have to worry about spending hours trying to fix what I'm doing, putting it back on, seeing if it will work. Anyway, this scene, so I have been hearing that episode 5 is supposed to involve Lydia's story about when Gilead first started. Okay? And this is going to be a big spoiler if you have not read the books, and you don't know this yet. But at the beginning, Aunt Lydia, on the TV series, Aunt Lydia was a teacher. But on the books, Aunt Lydia was a judge, or a legal lady. I'm pretty sure she was a judge. And they like around the same time that June and Moira found out that their bank accounts were no longer functioning because they gave all the bank accounts to the male next of kin, and they all were laid off. Around that same time, these ladies were their work was supposed to be closed, so they didn't technically need to be in at work at all. But these are legal professionals, and they're figuring their cases aren't going anywhere, and even if they are not supposed to be at work physically, they still need to do casework. They still need to prepare their cases. So they decided to go into work, did not include the males, but while they were in the work, fucking Gilead soldiers show up. And instead of laying everybody off and letting them go home like they did with June and her job at the printing press or whatever it was she was doing, they actually fucking kidnapped these people. They divided them up and they sent them to different places. Some of them a high school, some of them a box store, and some of them a stadium. Aunt Lydia ends up going to the stadium. One of the ladies that was pregnant, that also worked with her, was sent to the high school. So I think she went to the Red Center, to handmaid school. And Aunt Lydia goes to this stadium, and it looks like this is the beginning of that period. And I'm thinking this is something that we're going to see next episode, on episode 5, which I think comes out tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. But, yeah, I'm not going to say more than that. Just like, this is right after they're taken from their jobs, after they are split up, and some of them are sent to the box store. I still don't know to this day what happened to the ladies that went to the box store. But the ladies that went to the stadium, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. How do you become an aunt? It was this fucking situation that helped them become ants. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue on.
Those who are not with us are against us.
The wicked and enemies of the Lord will perish. Like smoke, they will drift away.
Okay. So Aunt Lydia says the wicked will perish. They will drift off and float away or something like that. So you might think, like, this sounds like that same religious drabble that these aunts freaking spew to these young girls and everything. But I'm thinking this is actually Aunt Lydia's true feelings. Like, she is trying to fight from behind the scenes, inside, to fucking take this shit down. I think at first she wanted to fix it, and I think she's doing her best to try to fix what she can in whatever way that she thinks she is able to without getting hung. But her real goal now, instead of fix Gilead, because she knows that you can't fix this fucked up shit, is to take it fucking down. To remove it from its fucking foundations. And so I think that might actually be her speaking honestly about that process. That the wicked, the evil, they are the ones that are going to fall away. They are the ones that are going to disappear. They are the ones that are going to be taken out. So hopefully it is the non-wicked and non-evil that remain. And I think she's talking about the people that are against Gilead, the Mayday people that they keep saying, oh, they hate us, they want to kill us, and all this stuff. Yet Aunt Lydia is working with them. They just don't know that. Anyway. Okay, so this is the Pearls room where they sleep. And we still have not seen that Pearl girl turn Daisy in. I do wonder if maybe she's going to try to pull something. Maybe try to be like, okay, I know your secret. If you do this for me, I'll keep it. If you don't, I won't. Something like that. I'm thinking maybe. Or maybe she's just waiting until she feels like it's the right time to rat her out. I don't know. I hope it'll be more of a, like, you stroke my back, I'll stroke yours, or something like that. Not the kind of stroking that Gilead would kill them for. But anyway, all right. Let's go ahead and play this.
We'd like your permission to enter.
I need to speak with Aunt Lydia.
Are you going to deny us entry?
Okay. Hold on. Alright, it appears to still be going. Alright. I just had to make sure, because I heard I heard the sound from my earbuds, which could be my earbuds disconnecting. But then I worried that it might be my live stream disconnecting. But it looks like it's still going, so hopefully it is. Anyway, gosh. So he asks if they're going to deny him entry. And this just reminds me of one of the times when I was in the army and I was on guard duty, and this, I think he was like a battalion commander or something, wanted access to one of our field sites. And I was like, they have this password system that they use where they have one word and you have another word, like that you have to not echo, but like one person says one word and the other person says another word. And if you don't know that combination, you're not allowed in. And this commander did not know his line, so I would not let him in, and he was very pissed off about it, and he just kept threatening me, and I was like, and I refused to let him in. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I was given orders that I cannot let anybody pass that does not know this. So yeah, that was very nerve-wracking and scary for me. I'm not gonna lie, it was, but I did not let him in. And then as soon as he was gone, I called up the people that were in charge of me, my team leaders. I called them up, told them what happened, let them know. So that way, if anything did happen and he did try to retaliate, that at least my team leaders who are in charge of me know what happened and they can kind of vouch for me. But no, I never got in trouble for it, but it was definitely nerve-wracking. Now, is Aunt Vidala gonna let them in without Lydia's permission? Because I don't know if they're going to follow the books in this case, but in the books, the men are not supposed to have access to this stuff. The woman's world is supposed to be for the women to take care of, and the aunts above all the rest are like, they have the most control over the females of anybody, outside of the commanders. But in this case, with these schools and stuff, the commanders and stuff like that are not supposed to. They are not supposed to be allowed to just enter. These are like their domain that they're not supposed to be in. So I don't know. Aunt Vidala may be like, no, I know the rules. I know how they work, and I am supposed to go to Aunt Lydia. Aunt Lydia is supposed to make the decision as to whether you can come in, because whether Aunt Vidala likes it or not, Aunt Lydia is in charge right now. And if she does something to try to take charge of a situation that Aunt Lydia feels is her domain, that could get her in trouble later, and I think she knows that. But then again, as a female, even the aunts don't have total control over these guys, and they could still get in trouble. So is she going to stand her ground and say, no, these are the rules. You need to wait for me to talk to Aunt Lydia and Aunt Lydia will make the decision? Or does she give in because, I don't want this commander to freaking hang me or anything, and let them in? I don't know. It's fucking scary, honestly. Even for Aunt Vidala, I think... I'm not going to say more about Aunt Vidala in the books because, I don't know, it might spoil too much.
Lydia, this is slowing down. I think maybe the time's come for you and I to discuss.
Okay, alright, so we're going to talk about Aunt Lydia first, and then we'll talk about this. Aunt Lydia, she appears to be... It almost appears like she's behind bars, or something like that. But then, if you listen to what she's saying, she's signaling to take these off. She's telling somebody else on the other side of the bars to take handcuffs or zip ties or something like that off of somebody else. So it may be that Aunt Lydia is on the non-prison side and somebody else is being kept in the prison side, and she's telling the guards or something like that to take them off. I don't know for sure, but yeah, I think that's a possibility. Okay, now this, you can hear Commander Judd in the background, and later on they're going to show Commander Judd, and frickin' Agnes is freaking out. They've got her in this freaking wife dress. She's freaking out, and Judd is sitting there trying to talk about whatever is going on with Aunt Lydia. I couldn't make out exactly what he was saying, and then he's gonna say that they have to decide how they want to move forward in Gilead or something like that. That's what it sounded like. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. Like, we already have the situation where it looks like she may very well have been raped by that dentist. And we know that that eventually has to work itself out. And I don't know if that's going to be worked out within this season. But hopefully they at least get a good headway on it, get a good start, and hopefully start to fucking take down that guy, because what the fuck. But this looks like it's outside of that. This looks like it's something else, and she's freaking out. And from what I remember, it also looks like this is the same dress that she was wearing when they had her sitting in front of a bunch of screens of all those ugly ass old men that are in the picture to possibly marry her. So, something. All right, let's play a little bit more.
Our vision for the future. I want to destroy.
Okay.
I want to destroy.
Hold on a minute.
I think maybe the time's come for you and I to discuss our vision for the future. I want to destroy Gilead.
Okay, so he's saying I want to destroy Gilead. I thought he might have been talking to, I thought he might have actually been talking to Agnes, but I don't think that's Agnes, because I think that was a white headband and dark hair, so it's probably Daisy. And I know Daisy has been indicating that she's freaking out. She's seeing all these people hung, who's gotten caught. She's seen that Mayday doesn't seem to be as together as she thought they would be. And we've seen throughout Handmaid's Tale that Mayday never has all their shit together, but Mayday also has to operate very secretively. And they have to operate in a way that only certain people have information from them, and none of the rest of their people actually have information about any given thing at any given time. So that way, hopefully, there aren't too many people given away if Gilead finds out about something and captures them and tortures them and whatever. Like, the less people actually know anything, the less they can give away. But, yeah, I'm thinking this is him trying to convince her. Like, I want you to stay. You're the closest that we've ever had to this happening. And I want this shit taken down. And without you, we might not be able to do it. Like, she's in a very important position. So that's what I'm thinking. Also, I need to check my stream again. Still says it's going. I really feel like maybe I should check on the website and double check, but if I do that, then I have to shrink this screen down, and I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and play a little bit more. I'm gonna back it up a little bit though, because I hate that it like the sound doesn't kick in for a little while.
Gilead.
I told you, I never wanted
See?
any of this.
Rah.
Gilead.
I told you, I never wanted any of this. My parents are going to choose my husband. Nobody cares what I want.
Okay. They're cleaning up a bunch of blood. Okay, so we know that Becca does not want to be married. She doesn't want any of them to be married. She doesn't want a part of this. I am very convinced it's because of the trauma that she's been through. But she's also saying, like, she has no choice in this. I don't remember, like, I feel like there was somebody in the book that had, like, a little bit of a choice. And I don't remember if it was her or if it was somebody else. But it was like they were given the choice between 3 commanders, and they get to choose between these 3 commanders or whatever. And I don't remember if it was her or maybe Shunammite but it was somebody. But it seemed like almost all the other girls, they really had no choice. It was like the aunts and the wives or something like that were making the decisions. I think in this, it's like the aunts and the guardians, or not the guardians, the commanders, that seem to be making the decision. But I don't know for sure. Okay, so there is a lot of blood on the floor, and these Pearl girls are all cleaning it up, and those look like either guardians or eyes. I'm thinking eyes, probably. They're holding a big white cloth. Like, what the heck happened here? This does not look good. Oh, wait a minute. Is this from after the scene that they show later? I don't know, but let's continue on a little bit.
What's in there? You?
Okay, so, excuse me, so Shunammite sees Daisy put something in the sink. Maybe shove it down the drain hole or try to wash it down the drain hole. Could Shunammite see what it actually was? I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I wonder. I think it may be that Shunammite doesn't actually know what it is, but she knows that obviously Daisy is up to something, and she's like, what the fuck? Like, they already don't trust the Pearl girls very much, so she's engaged in some activity like this. Is it just another thing that they feel like they can't trust them for? Okay, so now we are in, I think this is the ball or something that the Greens are supposed to attend. Possibly? I'm not 100% sure. That is the same floor, though. It looks like the same flooring that they just mopped that blood off of. And this round circle thing with the green on the outside, purple on the middle, and the pinky peachy colors on the inside looks kind of like an eye. You know, the pupil and the iris and all of that. And the other day when I saw one of the trailers, they showed the window looking down on that that pool that they did the baptism in for Agnes, and that also was like the shape of an eye. And somebody had said something about it being another eye. So not the eyes as in the people, but as in the symbols for the eyes. Interesting. But we've got purples, greens, and possibly pinks. I don't know if that's pinks, because to me that looks peachy. But you've got the plums, you've got the greens, and then you've got these other kids. And obviously another ceremonial thing, because Gilead loves to make a big ceremony out of everything and make it all very aesthetic and fancy and all of that. So anyway, let's play a little more.
Hold on, tell me. You won't say anything? I promise.
Okay, Hulda, tell me you promise you won't say anything. So Hulda has some kind of secret. And she's going to tell Agnes, because Agnes swears she's not going to tell anything. But these girls don't, sure, they've been through some of these punishments and stuff. And they may have gone through these correction things or whatever, where they're shamed and all of that. But have they been tortured like they torture some of these people? And if somebody if somebody in Gilead finds out that one of these young girls has some secret or whatever, or has some information that they want to know, we know Gilead. They're not going to stop at something less than torture because they're girls, because they're young girls, because they're not fucking full-grown adults. This is Gilead. They don't actually give a shit about that stuff. They want to act like they do, but they don't really care. So even if she promises to keep something to herself, there's no guarantee like that she's going to be able to go through the kind of torture they might put her through and not say anything. But even if she doesn't say anything, we know that freaking Gilead has a way of weeding things out, even if you keep your fucking mouth shut the whole time. And this, here, hold on, I want to check my stream again. It is going, so chats, and the only viewer is probably me, so that's okay. All right, so yeah, this shows her screaming, and then it's gonna show her, she's screaming about Agnes, which we'll hear that a little. I'll back it up a little bit to make sure that we hear the sound. She's gonna say something about Agnes, and then I don't know if it's right now or if it's a little bit later in the trailer. They're gonna show her falling, and I'm wondering if it is her blood that we see on the floor. She is up on something. All right, let's see if we can get a good view of what she's on and hear what she is saying.
Hold on, tell me. You won't say anything? I promise.
Agnes something, I can't tell what she's saying, but you could see she's screaming something. She seems to be up on the balcony. It's quite dark up there. And then they show her falling. And then they show this. Hold on. I want to play it one more time.
You? Hold on, tell me. You won't say anything? I promise.
Okay. And that shows Agnes actually, it looks like kissing Garth. Or at least coming close to kissing Garth. And we know how Gilead treats that. If it's found, if it's seen, if it's heard about, if anything, they can both be in deep fucking shit. So I hope nobody finds out about that. But we don't know right now what this Hulda thing is. And I know somebody had suggested, is it possible? This is going to be a big spoiler if it turns out to be real. It may just be fan theory and we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. But if it's not, and it's just somebody piecing together information and they were actually able to figure this out, then it could be a big spoiler. So you might want to block your ears a little bit if you don't want to hear this. But somebody suggested, is it possible that Hulda might be working with Mayday also? In some way, shape, or form. That maybe it's possible she was in Gilead all along, that she is a Gilead commander's child, but that somehow she ends up in a position where she's working with Mayday. Or my thought is it possible that she's just with one of the rare families where the commander and the wife actually are working with Mayday or do want Gilead taken down. Don't know, but it's a thought. It's a thought. And I'll stop talking about that, so if you are worried about spoilers, you won't have to be worried about that particular one, at least. Okay, now this is showing a bunch of the Pearl girls. They are being carted around to something, and you can see Daisy is looking. She's seeing something disturbing again, and I don't think it's just hanging people like it was before, because she's already seen that. She already knows that that exists. But what if it is a hanging, but she sees a specific person hanging? Or what if it's something else that she's seeing, that she's like, oh shit. Like, what the fuck? Holy hell. Don't know.
Agnes, what's going on? Are you okay?
Okay, hold on.
Agnes, what's going on? Are you okay? What did you do?
Okay. It's so hard to piece together this stuff, but definitely something going on with Agnes, with Shunammite. Shunammite's trying to figure out what's going on. I think Shunammite tends to be very gossipy and very catty and mean sometimes, but at the same time, she is a young girl being brought up in this fucking mess like all the rest of them, and she's doing what she can to survive in the way that she knows how to survive. And I think when it all comes down to it, if she feels that they are being threatened, that her friends are being threatened, that her life is being threatened, that the people in her circle are being threatened, that she is going to fucking rise to the occasion and try to do something about it. So I'm thinking she is feeling very threatened, or she's feeling that somebody she cares about is very threatened, and that is why she's reacting the way she is. That she's like, she wants to know what the hell is happening, and she wants to actually do something about it. I think this is Daisy. Possibly. Don't know. Don't know.
I might never get my daughter Hannah back, but I will die fighting.
I want to get my daughter Hannah back, but I will die if I whatever. And that is probably June speaking. I'm pretty sure that's Daisy. And this is Garth freaking out about something. Okay, so let's do this.
Okay. What did you do? I might never get my daughter Hannah back, but I will die fighting so that.
Was that Daisy? Or is that somebody else? This is most likely Agnes's bathroom. And whatever she's talking about. I wonder if at this point Agnes had said something about the dentist. And she's asking, what did you do? Because even though she should have every right to freaking tell somebody and expect some kind of safety or something, some kind of security after a fucking adult male does that shit to you. We also know that Gilead is fucked up, and they could try to turn it around on her, and they could try to turn it around on everybody else and make life hell for everyone. And we know, we know from Serena, how Serena acted when shit was going down and she felt threatened. And she was like, holy shit. Like, there's this fluctuation of emotions that even these commanders' wives seem to go through, of feeling both scared and angry and all this other stuff. And she looks like she feels threatened for some reason. Anyway, I'm not going to try to analyze it any more than that. I just... okay, and then we go to the situation where Agnes is running. Garth looks like he's freaking out about something.
I might never get my daughter Hannah back, but I will.
Because that doesn't look like Daisy, does it? It doesn't. I'm wondering if... Okay, so this was another suggestion somebody had said, because I said I had seen people talk about this trailer, like refer to it, but outside of that hadn't seen the actual trailer. This person suggested, what if this is, like, they were just spitballing possible ideas. Who is this? Because I don't think that looks like Daisy. But their thought was, what if this is Daisy's mother from back before? Like, if this is a flashback, is it possible that this was Daisy's mother when they took Daisy? And they try to get Daisy out of there. Because if a commander and his wife try to get their kid out of there and they found out anything about it, they're going to fucking lock them up. They're going to try to torture them. They're going to try to get as much information as they can, try to get that kid back. So is it possible that she was right and that this might be Daisy's mom? Because I don't think it looks enough like Daisy to be Daisy. But I think the characteristics are similar enough to say this could be her mom. But I don't know. Because it doesn't look like anybody else I recognize. Unless the other Pearl girl that knows that Daisy was snooping around getting stuff out of her bed. And I could say it doesn't look like her hair is that, like, wavy or whatever, but if they put their hair up, it's going to look nice and stick straight without looking wavy. Even Daisy's hair looks perfectly straight when she has it up in her Pearl Girl outfit. And it's possible that that girl just had her hair back at the time that we saw it, and so it just looks perfectly straight but is actually wavy. And I can't tell from this if that might be her or not. Anyway, hold on, I want to check my live stream again. Dun, 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 dun. Everything seems to be going okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and play a little bit longer.
Die fighting so that she can experience freedom. You have no idea who I am or what I have been through. Young lady, do you understand me?
Okay, now I am assuming that is actually June in the past talking to Daisy. That I mean, you can see Daisy and June both have this. They have this spirit. They have this. What do we want to call it? Aggression. This assertiveness. Both of them can be very like test you and push your buttons and shit like that. And I imagine that when June comes across somebody that is like her, they very much will push her buttons. And I could imagine that Daisy like starts being around her for a while and starts pushing her buttons, and I could definitely see June going off on her. But then again, it might not be Daisy. It might be somebody else, but I could still see it totally being Daisy and June just going off on her. Like, you have no idea who I am, little girl. Remember, these heroines in these stories are supposed to be regular women. They've gone through some hectic, holy fucking shit. They've gone through some bad times, and is going to result in some awful character building sometimes. Sometimes they may seem perfectly fine at some points and seem completely awful at others. some of the shit that June went through was awful. And that would definitely make me react as awfully as she had in some of these situations. But then some of the shit, I think, is just because that's June's character. That's just how June is. Even before she was kidnapped by Gilead, I think put in the right situation, she's going to be this, like, very assertive, sometimes aggressive, and manipulative person. But I think Gilead also has a way of really fucking traumatizing you, so that even if you're trying to keep that shit at bay, even if usually you're fine and okay, that kind of behavior can just come exploding out of you. And I mean, and I would imagine even people that are not typically assertive and aggressive like that, you push them the wrong way and that shit can come exploding out. So anyway, I think that's the end of it, but I'll play it the rest of the way just to see. Yeah, that's the end of it. All right, y'all. That was the trailer. This is the Reddit thing that I got it from. I will copy this link and paste it into my what the heck? I will try to copy that link and paste it into the description for this later on. It'll be a little bit because yeah, it'll take me a while to shut things down and everything. Anyway, if I see any preview trailers for any of the new episodes, I will probably try to do a live stream much like I just did. But so far I haven't seen any for the individual episodes. So, and if you got spoilers you really didn't want, I am so sorry. But I will definitely try to make it very clear in my information that this is spoiler heavy if I haven't done that already. Also, my previous book reading, not from today, but from Sunday, I had mislabeled it. I think I had labeled it according to one of these trailer reviews. And yeah, so it had a title about taking a look at the trailer, even though it was supposed to be a book reading. But I did see that and I did go back and change it. It just was written as it was a trailer review at first, but it is not. It's fixed now though. So anyway, that's all I got for you. I'll see you when I see you.